Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know the News You Trust studio, sponsored by the Family Forest Carbon Program, where we help family forest owners get paid to improve the health of their woods. From Friday, the cattle on feed report came in at 11.4 million head, 2% below last year. Placements into the feedlots were 3% below last year at 1.61 million head. Also, the last time we had a figure that low was clear back in 2015 in January. Marketings of fed cattle during April totaled 1.83 million head, 3% below 2024. Also, a federal judge in California has blocked USDA and other federal agencies from launching mass firings and reorganizing their departments. The order affects 21 federal departments or agencies, including USDA. Let's check in with Dusty Sonnenberg with a conversation about regulatory affairs.
I'm joined today by Kate Schenk. She serves as Director of Regulatory Affairs with Clean Fuels Alliance America. Kate, thanks so much for your time today. Results of a new study were just released that was commissioned by Clean Fuels Alliance America, and some really big, impressive numbers in that study. Can you highlight a few of those for us?
Yeah, of course. Thank you. I'm really excited to talk about this study. We're looking at 2024 real-world industry performance and looking at U.S. production of about 5 billion gallons. Total economic impact was $42.4 billion. That supported 107,400 U.S. jobs and $6 billion in wages annually.
Well, those are definitely large numbers that should get anybody's attention, especially soybean growers, those involved in the ag industry. If we take a look, maybe break it down a little bit more as far as how that economic impact came to us in Ohio.
Yeah, perfect. In Ohio, really great numbers there as well. It was over $1 million in total revenue, 1,800 jobs, and about $106 million in total wages.
That's big for the Buckeye State. Was it similar in other states?
It is, yeah. I mean, more rural states obviously had a greater impact there. When we looked at this study, we're looking at our soybean growers, oilseed processing, fuel production, rendering. And so you see those numbers, more closer, in the Midwest.
Certainly. A lot of aspects to the production that maybe we often overlook that actually filtered directly back into this. Again, my guest today is Kate Schenk. She serves as Director of Regulatory Affairs with Clean Fuel Alliance America. And to learn more, you can view the full report at cleanfuels.org. Kate, thanks so much for your time today.
Very good. Thank you.
And this biodiesel update is made possible by the Ohio Soybean Council and Soybean Checkoff.
And thanks, Dusty. Today's weather brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
Fairly decent rest of your afternoon here across the Buckeye State. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at your forecast update. No major changes here. We are dry for the balance of today. Good sunshine. High pressure still sitting in northern Michigan. Watching some clouds increase through the day tomorrow in southwestern Ohio. Maybe a few later afternoon scattered showers. Everything pretty much south of I-70, but we will see some clouds build over other parts of the state before sunset. I think the best shot of rain that we see here comes overnight tomorrow night through Wednesday. Anywhere from 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch of moisture there before we dry down for Thursday, Friday, and into the start of the weekend, although the weekend will be a little unsettled at times. I'm Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. A quick note on the calendar. The Jackson County Regional Livestock Market will be having a bred cow sale Friday at 6 p.m. Your livestock authority can be checked out online at jcrlm.com. The Make America Healthy Again came out with their announcements and bills. There's been several reactions. Let's pull some of that out. The federal government review of epidemiological data for the most common herbicide did not establish a direct link between use, according to label directions, and adverse health outcomes. And an updated U.S. government health assessment on common herbicides is expected in 2026. The report also points to more recent data from the USDA's pesticide data program, and it found that 99% of food samples tested in 2023 were compliant with EPA's safety limit. When it comes to regulating pesticides, MAHA said its recommendations that it change need to consider the effects of agriculture as well as the domestic and global food supply. MAHA said this is a need to collaborate with farmers and that any regulatory changes take cost considerations into account to ensure farmers can continue to operate while protecting public health. Ag interest groups made swift and forceful responses to the Maha Commission report and called on President Trump to intervene. Zippy Duvall, president of the American Farm Bureau Federation, said it was deeply troubling for the White House to endorse a report that sows seeds of doubt and fear about the U.S. food system. Farmers are identified as critical partners in the plan, yet were excluded from development of the report, despite many requests for a seat at the table, Duvall said in a statement. Today's market is brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. On Friday, December corn was down 2.5 at 4.50 3/4. November beans going into the holiday down 4 3/4 at 10.50 1/2. July wheat down 2 at 5.42 1/2. Cattle were mixed. Hogs were lower. Thanks for joining us. This is the Ohio Ag Net.